Hello, it's Mitchell Prentice here, and today I wanted to talk about solving quadratic equations and how to solve some simple quadratic equations that have some other terms in them as well. So firstly, what we need to look at when we're just dealing this with quadratic equations is substitution into expressions that have squares in them. Okay, so what I mean by this is saying, if I ask you what is, say, x squared, what is x squared if, and we go through some different values of our squared kind of expressions. What is x squared if x is equal to 2? Okay. What is x squared if x is equal to 2? And it's really simple. We can just say if x is equal to 2, we can substitute it in, and then we can go from there. Therefore, from that, x squared is equal to 4. Okay. The problem is if I also said that if, what about if x is equal to -2? Well, what I get is my x squared is now going to be -2 squared. So all of a sudden, I get x squared is -2 squared, and -2 times -2 is also 4. So, when I'm going through to solve this problem, I get two answers. I get, therefore, if x squared is equal to 4, I have two answers for x that makes this true. If x squared is equal to 4, I found that x is 2 gave the correct answer. However, if x squared is equal to 4, I also found that -2 is the correct answer. So there is two values for x that makes this true. So if x squared is equal to 4, then x is equal to -2 or +2. Okay, and how we show this is we actually write, let me just put in brackets next to it, I will just say x is equal to plus or minus 2. So there's a symbol that we use, the plus or minus symbol. So it's saying x is plus or minus 2. There's two answers that make that true. Okay, if x squared is equal to 4, then it's x is plus or minus 2. Now, there's a quick way to do this, and that's to find the square root of 4, obviously. Okay, because we're saying what number squared gave us 4, and we've already looked at squares, square roots, cubes, and cube roots in previous sessions. So for this one here, we can just find the square root to get this 2. So let's have a look and see another one. This was EG1. Okay, EG2. If I want to solve, just say I want to solve m squared is equal to 16. Okay, m squared is equal to 16. Now, this is a pretty simple number, and hopefully you recognize that we know what number squares to get 16 is 4. But please don't forget, when we are solving these quadratics, that there's two answers that square to give 16, and that is 4 squared is 16, but also -4 squared is 16. Okay, and how we will show this is straight away, if what we want to do is, if I have an equation and I square root this side and square root that side, I just have to realize that I'm going m is plus or minus the square root of 16. Okay, so there's two answers, plus or minus, and then the square root of 16, which we know is 4. Okay, so m is equal to plus or minus 4. Okay, so that's just going through. I didn't put anything with the arrows, so I didn't need the arrows that time. But let's just get this a little bit more. Let's just do this a little bit more. So EG3. EG3. Just say I want to solve, use another colour. Just say I want to solve 3a squared. 3a squared is equal to, just say 26. Okay, I want to say 3a squared is equal to 26, and I want to find out what value of a makes this correct. Okay, what can I substitute in for a so that 3a squared gets me 26? Okay, now we've looked at 3a squared before, you know, like when we're looking at it as an expression, as a term, meaning 3 times a times a. So let's go through and we'll solve this, and the first thing we'll do is we'll divide both sides by 3, wouldn't we? Okay, 3a squared divided by 3 just gets us a squared, and 26 divided by 3, that's not going to simplify very well, so I'm just going to write that as 26 over 3. Okay, 26 over 3. And now what I can do is I can square root both sides and just make sure I don't forget the plus or minus. Okay, this lesson is all about saying don't forget the plus or minus. So straight away here I'm going to say a is equal to plus or minus the square root of 26 over 3. Okay, so I get my calculator. Let me pull this calculator up here. There we go. And I just say the square root of 26 over 3. Oh, that's not a 3. There it is. So it's plus or minus 2.94. Okay, 26 over 3. I just left it there because it doesn't simplify. It's 8 2/3. But normally we would deal with this other thing. Okay, so the square root of it was 2.94. So it's approximately, a is approximately, remember approximately can have a squiggly equal sign like this, or instead of using that we could use an equal sign with a dot above and below it. Some people prefer that, but it's approximately, I forgot what the number was. Let me find this. It was 2.94 to 2 decimal places. Okay, so it's approximately not just 2.94, approximately plus or minus 2.94 to 2 decimal places. Okay, make sure that we do show that we're rounding off. So for example, if I put this in my calculator and I say, just say a was negative 2.94, then I can say 3 times brackets negative 2.94 squared. And now if I press equals, it should be approximately 26. So if I press equals, there you go, 25.9308. There's a little bit of rounding error because I rounded it to 2 decimal places. But that is one of our answers that gets us 26, and same with the positive of 2.94. Now let's make the questions a little bit more complicated. I think we are up to EG4 now. So just say we want to solve one that's like 5x squared minus 12 is equal to, say, negative 5. Okay, what number squared and then times by 5 and then minus 12 is equal to negative 5? So this is what we're trying to solve now. Okay, I encourage, if you haven't started doing it, trying to pause my videos before I go through and see if you can get the answers before I do. If you feel comfortable with them, it would be really good practice to be able to try to work it out, and then you can press play or skip forward to just see if you did get it correct, if you were really confident about it. Okay, so I'm going to add 12 to both sides, so 5x squared. I added 12 to the left-hand side, so I add 12 to the right-hand side as well. Minus 5 plus 12 is 7. Okay, I would then divide by 5. So x squared is equal to 7 over 5. Okay, and now I just take the square root of both sides. However, I need to remember the plus or minus. So x is equal to plus or minus the square root of 7 over 5. Okay, just say the question asked me to have that to 2 decimal places. I say the square root of 7 over 5 is 1.18. Okay, it's a bit of a rounding error because of the 3, but to 2 decimal places, I would say that's equal to, or it's approximately equal to, I'll use the other symbol. This time, x is approximately equal to plus or minus 1.18, okay? And that's to 2 decimal places. So I'll move that so you can see it's to 2 decimal places. Now, I just want you to note that there are some times that do not have 2 solutions. Okay, so the first one is if I had x squared is equal to 0, there is only one number that squares to give 0. Okay, so this is just x is 0. Okay, because it would be this plus or minus the square root of 0, which is nothing. So for this one here, this one has only one solution when you've got an x squared is equal to 0. The other thing to note is if you have x squared is equal to negative 4. Okay, what number squares to give you negative 4? And we say, well, if x was 2, 2 squared is positive 4. It's not an answer. If x was negative 2, then negative 2 squared is positive 4. It's not an answer. So what we actually have is we say x has no real solutions. Okay, so I'll just put this here. If x squared equals a negative number, you have no real solutions. Okay, then it goes to that. Okay, so if x squared is a negative number, there's no real solutions. Nothing can square to give you a negative number. Could be what squares to give you negative 1. There is no answer. Okay, I'm just going to do one last example, e.g. 5. With these, so let's say it's 30 minus 4x squared is equal to 15. Okay, so let's have a look and see if there's a solution, and let's see what we can get. What is x that would make this equation true? So the left-hand side is equal to 15, is equal to the right-hand side. Okay, I probably should actually, let's make this a little bit harder because we just did pronumerals on both sides. Let me say plus 3x squared. There you go, make it even harder. But it doesn't matter, it's still the same. Okay, so we look at this equation and we go, okay, I don't like pronumerals on both sides, so I'm going to take away the 3x squared from this right hand side. I'm going to take away that. So therefore, I've got 15 on the right hand side, and I have to take away 3x squared from the left hand side as well. So it's 30, okay, minus 4, take away 3 is minus 7x squared, okay? So it's minus 4x squared, and then take away another 3. I took away 3x squared from that. So I've got actually negative 7x squared. Okay, I don't want the 30 on this side, so I'm going to take away 30 from the left side. Okay, I took away 30, so I have to take away 30 from the right side as well. 15 take away 30 is negative 15. Okay, so it looks like it's a negative here, but there's also a negative one there. So I'm now going to divide this side, the left-hand side, by negative 7. Now remember, with each of these steps, if you wanted to, you can still show, like I just took away 30, take away 30. You can still show those things, okay? Normally, you would do that in like a year 8 class or a year 7 class, whichever we're doing in stage 4. However, I just want to make sure that, by the time you're year 9 and year 10, that we're just doing this and we don't really need to write these minuses. Okay, so I'm going to divide by negative 7, divide by negative 7. So x squared is equal to negative 15 divided by negative 7. Okay, but remember, a negative number divided by a negative number is a positive. So I'll rub out those two negatives. Okay, so that's what we've got here, 15 over 7. So therefore, x is plus or minus the square root of 15 over 7. Okay, and then I can use my calculator and say the square root of 15 over 7, here you go, 1.46 to 2 decimal places. So it's x is equal to plus or minus 1.46 to 2 decimal places. Okay, you could go through and you could check it. So just say I said it was 1.46, 30 minus 4 times 1.46 squared gave you, say, 21.5, and 15 plus 3 times, I should have used brackets, 1.46 squared was also around 21.5. Okay, there's going to be a rounding error because I rounded it, but they were both, the left hand side was about 21.5 and the right hand side was about 21.5 as well. Okay, I hope that helps with solving quadratic equations. Okay, this will be a very big topic in future years as we start getting some other terms in here as well.